little bit, and he had a little dirt on his face, and he wore a camel skin, and he had a piece of leather that he tied off in the middle, and that was what he wore. Whether he was going to town, whether he was going to visit somebody, no matter where he was, that was his outfit. So I can only imagine that people probably looked at him a little bit different, like maybe he didn't just look just like everybody else. So he added to that little bit of difference by the fact that, does anybody know what John the Baptist ate? No. He survived, what was it? No, he had no meat, if you will, in his diet. John the Baptist survived in the wilderness, proclaiming God is coming in the desert. He lived on locusts and wild honey. That was his diet, guys. Can you even imagine catching yourself one of the locusts that comes by your front porch, those little guys, the big guys with little bitty thin wings? That was what he ate. He ate locusts and wild honey. So you got a gentleman, you got a character that's eating locusts and honey, and he's chasing bees out of trees to get to his meal, and he's wearing camel hair, and he's got himself a big leather belt, and you can only imagine that he was quite a character, can't you? He was quite an individual. So people, he automatically had their attention. People listened to him. They just stopped what they were doing to listen to him. And that was one of his greatest assets. That was the greatest thing about him, was he could capture people's attention when no one else could. And he would proclaim the gospel to anybody that would listen. Everybody that he came into contact with, he would say, do you know that all you have to do is proclaim that Jesus is Lord and Christ is our Savior and be baptized? And that's where baptisms came in. John the Baptist would come in and he would baptize people. And the reason that he would baptize them was not because that was what made them go to heaven, and not because that was just what you had to do, but it was as a sign that you had went in one side of the water dirty and came out the other side of the water clean. It was a sign that you had given your life over to Jesus Christ and that you wanted to follow in his footsteps and be one of his children. That's what being baptized is all about. It's not that that's what you have to do to be saved, but it's what you do as a sign and a symbol to show the rest of the world that that's one of God's children. So that was what John the Baptist did, is he would stand and he would get everybody's attention, and he didn't have any authority at the time. He wasn't a president, and he wasn't a sheriff, and he wasn't somebody that everybody listened to. He was just a man that dressed a little bit different and ate a little bit different and got everybody's attention and told the story of Jesus and prepared the way, prepared the hearts. And boys and girls, on a daily basis, you don't have to wear camel hair skin, and you don't have to wear a leather belt, and you don't have to have your hair sticking crazy in order to let others know that you're just a little bit different, do you? Sometimes all you need to do is to just open your mouth and let people hear the words that come out of your mouth. Sometimes in today's world, everybody is so busy and everybody is in such a hurry, and sometimes the fastest thing to say is not always the nicest or the easiest, is it? Sometimes you say things really quick and you say them and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And you know what? We can let people around us know that we are a child of God just simply by opening our mouth and saying the kind things and helping someone along the way. Can we do that? Think of one thing that you could do at school that somebody would know that you were just a little